using resources effectively from the government perspective will also include welfare aspect or taking care of poor people. Demand is not only about your willingness to buy, but also your ability to pay. Then what you should be doing is, you should have a very clear concept. One is, you will start your preparation with understanding basic words. Now the question comes up, where do I pick the basic words? So UPSC has not defined prelims syllabus clearly. UPSC has defined main syllabus properly. Now every line has an economics word which you can do research on. For example, you see foreign currency convertible bond.
Every journey begins with a dream, but dreams need direction. Without the right foundation, effort feels scattered, unclear, exhausting. That's where Vision IAS steps in, a structured GS foundation built to guide every step of your preparation. From admission to mentorship, every resource you need is here, under one foundation. And when the day arrives, your dream is no longer just a dream, it's your reality. Vision IAS GS Foundation course, your first step towards success.
So we will be a little fast. You're already all of you are freshers. So approach to economy, UPSC economics. So what has to be done? And we'll see the syllabus. And first of all, why should we study economics and its weightage and exam? In general also, why there is this subject for bureaucrats? Related to everything. Okay. Okay, resource management. Okay. And how a private CEO looks at economics or economic fundamentals, and how a bureaucrat looks at economic fundamentals. Is there any difference? What is the difference? Bureaucrat will look for welfare. For bureaucrats, profit is not required. They don't want profits. Bureaucrats don't want profits. Okay. So see, when we talk about economics, why there is a study of economics is always resources are very limited. So optimum utilization of resources. Now optimum utilization of resources for a private player is a little different. So private player will always talk about efficient use of resources. Efficiency, what is efficiency? With minimum inputs, I want maximum output. That's it. But when we talk about a bureaucrat, he talks about aspects like effectiveness. Effectiveness, what is effectiveness? If any policy is there, the intended outcome of the policy. For example, you're constructing a dam. You're constructing the best dam possible at least possible cost is one objective for a private player. You construct the best dam possible. But when we talk about bureaucrat, how many hectares of land is going to get irrigated because of construction of this dam? This is called as the output or intended output of that particular activity. And out of these, let's say 1 lakh hectares of land are going to be irrigated because of this dam. Out of these 1 lakh hectares, how many hectares belong to poor? This is called as equity. So one is efficiency, which even a private CEO wants. For example, let's say you are a private CEO of a company. This was asked already in your UPSC ethics paper. And CEO of a veterinary drug company. And suddenly in the research you come across something like if you spend 100 crores from your pocket and come up with this drug, that means some changes in the existing veterinary drug, and you will be coming up with an innovative drug which will solve the problems in a tribal hamlet. Solve the problem means there's a rare disease in a tribal area and that drug can solve that problem. Okay. Now as a CEO of this private company, what should you do? Will you spend 100 crores from your pocket, come up with this drug so that this drug will solve the problem in the tribal hamlet? And the people in this tribal area do not have paying capacity. Got the point right? Okay, so now what would be your approach? This was what was asked. So as a private CEO, you can't say I'll put my 100 crores from my pocket and I'll come up with this drug and I'll solve the problems of the tribal area. Because for you, the business becomes important. Got the point right? Or maybe you have to collaborate with government, raise funds from government, or collaborate with NGO, raise funds there. Or if you yourself, you're putting money from your pocket, the whole country should know that you have done welfare. You have to publicize it so much that you get that welfare tag, and therefore your sales will increase. This is how you should operate. Of course, indirectly you should tell everybody, no, I've done welfare, so that your sales will improve. It's called branding, simple. But you can't put your own money from your pocket. But let's say you're the health secretary and you're dealing with a government pharmaceutical company and you found the drug. With spending so much of money, you'll be able to solve a problem in a tribal hamlet. Then the situation is completely different. Got the point? So here when I say economics, using resources effectively from the government perspective will also include welfare aspect or taking care of poor people. So this aspect makes economics for the bureaucrat a little more different. Got the point right? And moreover, bureaucrats also have to be efficient. Bureaucrats have set up some food processing industries, etc., in several rural areas, tribal areas, and they're running them profitably. It's not that bureaucrats means there's no profit. That's wrong. Suppose you're heading some government firm. You should make the firm profitable today. Without profits, how can government run its companies? So profit is also important, but at the same time, resources for welfare also becomes important. I hope it is clear. In our personal life, economics is very important because economics and finance is the most important thing. No finance. See, Kautilya Arthashastra talks about all this, no, using dharma, artha, kama and moksha. Actually, it is artha first. And only then systems can be built. If I don't have artha, then how do you build systems to keep things in track? Are you able to get this? So you said you want dharma, but systems should be in place, no? For keeping systems in place, you need resources, no? How do you get those resources without finance is the question. I think you're getting my point right. And if you try to observe India was, of course, for example, if you see, what is this? Today, are we focused on market economy or are we more like a socialist economy? Market economy. What is a market economy? Demand and supply is controlled by market. Okay. Demand and supply is controlled by market. What is demand? Want. If you want, we will give. Most important is ability to pay. You want a Lamborghini. You're a salaried employee. Not possible, isn't it? That means it's not only about your willingness to buy, your ability to pay also becomes very important, isn't it? Okay, so that is what is demand. And when I say market economy is that economy which runs on the forces of demand and supply. Is that okay? So today it's a market economy. How do I get to know today is a market economy? Now if you observe our advertisements, can you see a poor man in any advertisement except the election advertisement? No. That means market economies don't want poor. Finished. Show me one commercial ad where there is a poor man. Mobile advertisement, life insurance advertisement, car advertisement, razor. Show any advertisement. Show me a poor man. A farmer going to a farm. No, you will find all these advertisements are for those who have the paying capacity, who are inside that circle called market. Simple logic. Clear observation. You observe, you'll get to know. Okay, so that means today, education, health, basic requirements are also in that circle. If I don't have money, I can't afford it. Simple. And there are many who are outside this circle. And that is the reason there is a need for bureaucrats to implement schemes. Okay, so that you push those who are outside the market into this circle. Are you able to get this? This is how it is. Hope it is clear. Now, all this discussion we have come across one word, that is market, isn't it? Another word is what? Demand. So to understand UPSC economics, the first thing you should be doing is understanding the words in the syllabus. That means if something like inflation is coming up in newspaper, supply is coming, okay, rupee appreciation, depreciation, dollar becoming stronger, like this you'll be getting lot of words. Okay, so maybe around 200 to 250 words, you should know what it is to understand the subject. So first best thing is understanding the terms and terminology. So your preparation should start from understanding basic words. So what are the basic words that we have come across? Socialism is a word. Capitalism is a word. Market economy is a word. Demand is a word. Are you able to get this? Is this clear? So the first job obviously is, how do I get a hold of the words in the syllabus? Most important is that. So at the end of your NCRT, there are some 200 plus words. Now I should know what it is. I need not dig deep into it. For example, if I say inflation, it's a word. What is inflation? Rate of increase in prices. Okay, so 100 rupees product has become 105. That means my inflation rate is 5%. This is what you're talking about. So first step is like understanding what the word stands for. Okay, so for example, there was this word called shrinkflation. Shrink. What is this? Your lace packet price remains same, vacuum increases. Very intelligent. Your toothpaste, the paste starts from the bottom. So this is what is shrinkflation. Okay, so that is a new word that has come up because South Korea is taking some action against those people who are reducing the size or quantity, but the price remains the same. Instead of calling it as inflation, you're calling it as shrinkflation. As simple. I hope it is clear. So first job is understanding different words in the syllabus. I hope it is clear. Okay. So one word which we have understood is demand. Now one simple question. So demand is not only about your willingness to buy, but also your ability to pay. So if you don't have the ability to pay, then you are outside the market. This is not market. Today, spirituality is also inside. Okay, ashrams, most of the ashrams, nothing is free, is what I mean. Primary education, primary health care, everything is here. That is the reason those with resources only will develop. Those without resources, it is difficult for them in a market economy. I think you're getting my point. You don't have access to education, don't have access to health, don't have access to basic requirements. Then what will happen? Then it becomes very difficult for you to develop in a market economy. I hope it is clear. But you to take Scandinavian countries, you take, let's say you talk about Finland, Norway, quality education, quality health is free. Okay, so therefore, an orphan kid in Scandinavian countries can move up the social ladder faster. That means there are positives, but market economies can have negatives also. Okay, so first is understanding the word, then check what are the positives of it, what are the negatives of it. This is the first job you have to do. Okay, demand, market economy. What are the positives of a market economy? What are the negatives of the market economy? You give it to AI, AI will give you three points. You need not work hard also nowadays. Okay, so it's very simple. Suppose you get this word like socialism. What are the positives of socialism? What are the negatives of socialism? So this is the first approach which every student should be doing. Okay, so the best way to learn economics is understanding the key terms and terminologies. I hope it is clear. Once you have understood, then you should be knowing some background of syllabus. And you should also know the weightage of the subject. Actually, every teacher would have told you, like, this is the weightage of the subject. So why weightage of the subject should be known? Based on the weightage, you will decide the amount of effort you will push. Return on investment, we call it as, in simple words. This is my amount of effort I am putting in. What would be my output? Love towards subject is okay. Just because you love a subject, you can't keep on studying that subject. As simple as that. Are you able to get this? So here the whole logic is how many questions are asked in the exam. Based on which, how should my preparation be strategized? So without knowing what is coming and what kind of questions, how many questions, you can't have any kind of strategy. Simple. So how do you frame your strategies? First, understanding how many questions are coming in the exam. Then what type of questions are asked. And then based on which you will formulate your strategy. Simple. Is that clear, everybody? So once we start learning economics, where do we use it? One is we use it in prelims. So prelims approximately 15 to 18 questions come in this subject. Okay, on an average you get 15 to 18 and your accuracy rate should be 80%. Certain subjects accuracy rate should be high, like polity also, accuracy should be high. Suppose 18 questions are coming, at least you should try getting 15 right in polity also. Same with economics also. Like if you're getting 17, 18 questions, at least you should get 14, 15 right. You can't say I'll get only 10 right. Why? Because conceptual. So once concepts are clear, then automatically scores will be coming. Is that clear? Understood? So this is one aspect of it. Then in GS 3, around 110 to 120 marks are from economics. Okay, so around 9 questions, 8 to 9 questions out of 20 will be from economics. Okay, so we have to do justice to most of these questions. So that is in the mains part. And then if I understand economics well, there is one more benefit. The benefit is obviously you can use some of your economics knowledge in essays. It's another important aspect. So when I'm thinking, even a philosophical essay or a regular essay, for example, if I ask you one word, what is poverty? How do you define poverty? Not being able to maintain basic living, okay. So no, okay, fine, but deprivation of basic requirements for leading a dignified life. Okay, so that is what he was trying to explain. So that is what is poverty. For example, in simple definition, somebody who is getting less than 2,400 calories per day in rural area, and somebody is getting less than 2,100 calories per day in urban area. Is that okay? But in UPSC essay, there was a question, poverty anywhere is threat to prosperity everywhere. This was the question they have asked. This is an essay topic. Poverty anywhere is threat to prosperity everywhere. Anywhere if there is poverty, it can affect the prosperity of a prosperous area also. Is that okay? So now the question is, of course, you can't define in an essay, you can't say poverty is all about 2,400, 2,100. Okay, a little different. But what is the essay saying? What is this essay talking about? How is poverty linked to other things? For example, let's say, if there is poverty in northwest frontier province, this is Afghanistan-Pakistan border, there can be people like Usama coming up, and there can be twin blasts in US. What is this? US is a prosperous country. Poverty anywhere is threat to prosperity everywhere, including a prosperous country called US. Simple. Suppose if there is too much of poverty in the Northeast, and if the Northeast is not feeling integrated into India, there can be a higher probability of infiltration into India. And there can be an effect to the central India also. Poverty anywhere can be a threat to prosperity everywhere. So once the concept is clear, it's all about your thought process. Is that okay? What is sustainable development? Okay, so that means you're growing but without affecting the prospects of the future generations. Okay, suppose there is too much of poverty today, there will be usage of fossil fuels. Fossil fuel, it will pollute the environment. That means today's poverty can also affect the prosperity of future generations. That means if today there is more poverty, that is the reason you can't ask the rural mother not to use chula. First you have to give her gas cylinder and then tell her not to use. You can't just go and say, don't use it. That means what? First handle poverty, then talk about environment protection. That is the reason first SDG, Sustainable Development Goal 1 is what? Handling. Why? Because without handling poverty, I cannot talk about sustainable development. I think you're able to get this. So once the word poverty, so you'll not stop at poverty, somebody who's getting less than 2,400, 2,100. Most of the students are like, they're thinking less, reading more. It should be reverse. Read less, think more. You take a question, you think. You take an essay, you think. We stop thinking, you start reading. This material, that material, which material? How many materials will you read? Are able to get this? So you should develop this habit of thinking. Then any question that comes, things would be simple. Is that okay? Understood. Another area where economics can help you is interview. So interview, basically what they will ask is current areas. Okay, so recently Madam has reduced, Nirmala Sitharaman Madam has reduced GST rates. You know that. Okay, suppose I ask, is it a good reform? Why did they reduce GST rates, for example? If I ask, why did they reduce? Why did they do it right now only? Why is it that they have not done it 2 years back? Why is it that they have done it now? Why did they reduce GST rates currently? So these are what? Current related questions. What do you think is the reason? Boost consumption. Why should they boost consumption? Export. You can't produce and sell it to others now much because of heroes like Trump outside. Therefore, you have to produce and sell it to us only. So that means our consumption should increase. So if our consumption has to increase, that means people should be able to pay more easily. So how to do that? Reduce the tax rates. If you reduce income tax rates in the budget, they have done that. so that you can buy more of products. You reduce GST rates, the cost of the product will reduce. Cars will become cheaper, health insurance will become cheaper, so you will be able to buy. So your consumption will increase the growth of the country. Logic very clear. So this is how you, if something is there, you have to ask why. Why is it so? Why did they do it? Why is it that they have done it now? Is there any objective? Then automatically 2-3 points will come. And then it becomes a habit. Whenever a question comes, it flows. Initially it is you are asking. Afterwards it becomes a habit. Now, what should be one problem with most of the students is these are few things. These are, I put them as myths. Okay, so one is some students come and say we are not from economics background. Okay, you're not preparing for economics optional, you're preparing for general studies. And there are no technical questions in general studies. All the questions are basic questions. Okay, and especially mains is even more basic. That means no technical words in the question papers. Okay, so there is no requirement of any background. Another problem is most of the people feel economics is all about calculations, graphs and numbers. But it is not like that. In UPSC, last graph they have asked in prelims was 1996. Okay, so no graphs, no calculations. That is one more important thing. Another important aspect is, like they feel that nowadays YouTube has become very popular. So if they feel everything that is coming in newspaper, somebody will come up and do some video. This article, this video, this article, one more video, Hindu one video, Indian Express one more. Yeah, like that there's a lot of, this is all what, it will create unnecessary stress and fear. All these articles are not important. Whatever is relevant for the exam, how do you decide which article in the newspaper is important? Based on syllabus. 2 criteria. 1, is it linked to my syllabus? First thing. Second, is it too technical? If it is too technical, you're going to leave it. These are the 2 criteria for segregating articles. It's not that everything that comes in newspaper is important. So generally they say everything under the sun will be asked. All that is nonsense. And most of the videos on YouTube are like, they show you all those interviews and all that. Mock interviews, and 99% of those mock interviews which you see in the, they don't ask such questions, UPSC. Don't ask. How many steps did you climb? Huh? Such kind of question. Who's asking? Whether you climb or whether you use lift doesn't matter only. So the question is like, all this is cooked up stories. So the logic is very simple. Keep things simple. Okay, so keep the syllabus in hand and see if I'm spending time on an article. That means I should know that it is linked to my syllabus. Very important. Is that clear? Yes. So what should you do then? So this is what you should not be doing. Then what you should be doing is, you should have a very clear concept. One is, you will start your preparation with understanding basic words. Now the question comes up, where do I pick the basic words? NCERT, at the back of your NCERT, there's a glossary. You have some 200, 250 words. Those words you will pick up and you will take Perplexity or ChatGPT. Very simple. Okay. And then you will give prompts. What is a prompt? If you are an economics teacher, please briefly explain what is inflation. And it should be understood by a 5th grade student. Prompt is also very clear. Is that clear? And then it explains everything for a 5th grade kid. I have experimented with 2nd grade, 8th grade, 10th grade. 5th is best for you. You will get the best answer for that prompt. And first job you will do, take each word. Deflation, disinflation, inflation, market economy, socialism, capitalism. And the prompt remains the same. And you'll get a hold of what the word is. Once those 100, 150 or whatever words are over, then you will get into the regular syllabus. Then things will become very, very simple. Got the point? No. Micro, you need not read micro textbook in detail. but you should know a few basic concepts. Like, for example, demand, supply. Okay, so these things you should know. It's not that you get into details of micro. Is that okay? Yes. Clear till here? So now what you should not do, what you should be doing now, stick to basics. What is basic? Understanding the words, understanding the concepts. Feeling that you have understood is different from really understanding. Feeling is like, I've understood, superficial. Feeling is like, it's superficial. You'll really understand when you solve a question, you know, okay, this is what it is. You get that satisfaction. Or you're able to explain it to somebody else in simple words. When you understand, you'll simplify things. You're complicating means you have not understood. Simple. Okay, so second is linking concepts with real life examples or situation. This is very important. How do I link concepts with real life examples, real life situations? For example, if there is a trade war situation going on, or suppose you are reading that recently gold prices increased, silver prices increased, then you will not stop there. You'll say, why? Why is it that gold prices increase so much? Today there's a lot of resources available. No? If you type this, you get the answer immediately. Gold is used as a safe haven for investing. Okay, so whenever there is too much of uncertainty, like people like Trump coming up with uncertain policies, central banks keep buying gold. So like this, you'll get answers why there is demand for gold. So it's not that you'll not just be satisfied with the fact, rather you will link it with the current situation. So current situation, whatever may be the current situation. For example, GST has been reduced by madam. Why? Why did they take that decision? Gold rates are increasing last 1 year 50%. Why? In the recent past, silver has come up, increased. Why? Unemployment rates are decreasing. How? Why? Is it really decreasing or is it only numbers? Are you able to get this? So this is how you will pose questions and try understand. Another point here, don't believe the market or veterans who complicate things. This point is like, market will create fear in your mind. What is market? All that YouTube you see, everything is market. More is the complexity, more difficulty you will feel. The more difficulty you will feel, more you will be restless. So the market's logic is to make you restless. So when you're restless, then you look for options. No, where should I go? And things like that. Okay, so stick to basics. Don't get into too much of complexity. They say, like, I've read this book, that book, and still have not made it. How can you make it? And all that nonsense. Got the point? Like that. That is also market. Got the point, right? And then complete research on syllabus and previous year questions. This is very important. So how do I know? How do I draw a boundary for my preparation? How do I know how much I have to study? So how much I should leave? Today, leaving is more important than studying. So everything looks important. So how do I get to know what is really important? Syllabus and previous year questions. Is that clear? Okay. And then make your own handwritten notes. If not handwritten, make a laptop notes. Laptop is more easier because ChatGPT, copy paste, government websites, toppers notes, everything at one place, copy paste. Then synchronize it, read it again and again. This is what it is. Okay, so that is what I mean. I hope it is clear. Okay, so UPSC has not defined prelims syllabus clearly. UPSC has defined main syllabus properly. But prelim syllabus is not clearly defined. But based on PYQs, we can decide that yes, this is the boundary. Based on previous year questions, you can say for prelims, yes, these are the things that are important. Are you able to get this? So actually guessing questions in mains is easier. Why? Because the syllabus is clearly codified. Guessing questions in prelims is difficult, little difficult. Why? Because clearly these chapters are not mentioned. Then how did I mention these chapters? Based on previous year questions. Are you able to get this? Okay, so first and foremost is you should know what is the syllabus. Then you can check how much deep I should be going. Okay, so how do I decide? It's based on previous year questions. So in the mock papers, there may be 2 difficult questions also sometimes. This is for understanding only, learning only. Okay, so that is not the benchmark. My benchmark is not to clear the mock. But of course, mock papers are very important. But at the same time, mocks should not reduce your confidence. It is for a learning exercise. Got the point? But your boundary with respect to preparation should be decided based on UPSC previous year questions and UPSC conducted exams. For example, CDS is there, CAPF is there, and sometimes there will be repetition of questions from CDS. Is that okay? Understood? Now, if I look at main syllabus, see, main syllabus is clearly defined, very clear. So this is how main syllabus is defined. And therefore, you find questions from the lines in the syllabus. Suppose you pick up this year's mains paper also, you have scope and significance of food processing. Same question in 2022 also. Go back and check if you want, scope, significance. So very clearly UPSC mentions, this is where I will ask you questions from. Very clear. Is that okay? But for prelims, that's not the case, and therefore, you have to write down the syllabus very clear, based on the previous year questions. Is this clear? Understood? Okay. This is books to be referred. Okay. So you have any idea about the books? Can you tell me? Do you have any idea about the books? NCERT. Okay. So here, if you observe here, I have put something like basic reading. Basic reading is, these are books not written for UPSC. If you feel like I don't know anything, I want to start from scratch. I don't know what is money, what is black money. Okay, so then there are books like this. So you want to know about economics. This is a very small book which can be read in 4 hours or 3 hours or 2 hours. This is, even a 6th standard kid can understand this. So somebody who feels like I don't know anything, even NCERT is too much for me, I want to start from scratch, then this is the book. Is that clear? Okay. There is one more book I have mentioned here. This is generally read for interview. 75 years of Indian economy, re-emerge, reinvest, re-engage. Sanjay Baru. Okay. So he is a person who has observed Indian government function from very close quarters. And this is also a very small book. It talks how Indian economy evolved from 1940s till date. Okay, you will get a hold of how Indian economy has moved all these years. Okay, so this is another book. So these are not written for UPSC, but very important, and it will set some foundation for you. But coming to compulsory books, obviously the first book after your basics are over is NCERT, that is Indian Economic Development, your 11th standard NCERT. You will not start with your macro textbook, you have to start with Indian Economic Development NCERT. Is that okay? So that is a textbook to be read, and this is compulsory, non-negotiable. These things you may say, sir, I don't want to read, it's okay. But this is compulsory. I hope it is clear. Then another textbook which you will read is Introductory Macroeconomics NCERT. That is 12th standard NCERT. Is that clear? And then select one standard textbook of your choice. Any standard textbook of your choice. So I have put, for prelims, I have put Shankar Ganesh, Indian Economy Key Concepts. Why? Because this is a small book. So my criteria is very clear. I will be pushing books which are not bulky. I don't want books which are 1500 pages because anyhow I'll be using internet, AI. So why should I read a 1500 page book is the question. So therefore I've pushed this. Suppose you're reading some coaching material, Vision has booklets, then you can read that material, leave the textbook. But you will read NCERT. You're reading coaching material, also you'll read NCERT. You can't skip NCERT. Is that clear? You can skip the textbook and read the material. Clear? For mains, what has to be done? Mains best source is internet and government websites. Okay, rather than textbook. Second is you have Vision IAS value addition material. There is a value addition booklet that is released by Vision. And that value addition material has certain topics which you don't find in the regular textbooks. So you not run around searching for textbooks, it is all available at one place. Is that okay? So that value addition material will help you in terms of preparing your content. Okay, so along with that value addition material, you have to focus on economic survey and budget. That also synopsis is available. Coaching Institute releases synopsis. If you can't read the full budget, can't read the full survey. I hope it is clear. Okay, so other than your class notes or whatever, these are the references. Is this clear? Understood? NCERTs are non-negotiable. These two books will set a foundation. If you feel you don't know any basics, better you read. Okay, so the second one. And then for mains, internet and value addition material and economic survey and budget. Clear? Now one area for economics which everybody keeps asking is what should we do with current affairs? Okay. So what should you do with current affairs? One thing you should do is every day you should read one newspaper at least for 45 minutes. Now you say, sir, we are lazy, we can't read or we don't have time. Then what are the options? Options are maybe you can read a monthly magazine. Okay. And you will read, if you say monthly magazine is too bulky, so what should I do? Then there is PT 365, Mains 365. This is a compilation, synopsis kind of all the monthly magazines. But my suggestion would be newspaper is compulsory. Got the point, right? Newspaper is compulsory. Along with newspaper, you can read PT 365, Mains 365. Or the monthly magazines. If you read monthly magazines properly, you can leave the PT. Because the PT is also compilation of the monthly only. Is that clear? Okay. And third important area for current is economic survey and budget. That's again very important. Is that okay? Okay. So survey and budget, you can't read everything, then you can read the synopsis of the institute. Understood till here? Now, we are not solving questions. See, you have to do research on previous year questions. What is the meaning of research is? Research is not solving the question. Research is understanding everything about the question and also checking what else can be asked from the question. For example, this was a question which was asked 2 years back. Which of the following is part of foreign direct investment? This was the question. Okay. Now, every line has an economics word which you can do research on. For example, you see foreign currency convertible bond. That's a word. Then comes what is a bond? What is a convertible bond? Then what is a foreign currency convertible bond? And then comes, was it in news recently? If you ask AI also, was it in news? It will come up with last 6 months data. Okay, in the last 6 months, if it has appeared for more than 7-8 times in the newspaper, that means it's important. This is how it is. Got the point? So these are the questions you ask. So then foreign institutional investment, global depository receipt. That means what is a depository receipt? Why depository receipts? Okay, so what are these global depository receipts? What is the purpose? Who regulates them? This is what is research. Research is not about getting to the answer. Research is about getting deeper into the words mentioned in the question. And tomorrow, a new question comes from these words. After 1 year, after 2 years, when you're writing the exam. So that time you'll find one line or one question coming on GDRs. This is our preparation. So 60 to 70% of your preparation will be over when you do research on previous year questions. In fact, 70% of your preparation is done. Research, not solving, one is wrong. This is what is the answer, not like that. Understood, no? So, coming to any question that's the same. For example, there was one more question, which of the following is called intangible investment? So first of all, I should know what is investment. How do economists define investment? What is tangible? What is intangible? Are you able to get this? Okay. What is inventory? How many types of inventory are there? Got the point? What is inventory? Only finished goods? Raw material also. That means inventory will include raw material also. Inventory will include finished goods also. Inventory will include semi-finished goods also. All three. Is that okay? If the inventory is not moving from for a company, it is good or bad? Bad. That means that inventory is undesirable. That means there is desirable inventory. Undesirable. Undesirable, you don't want that inventory to stay. Tatas are producing cars, but the cars are in the godown only, not moving out. Undesirable. Got the point, right? So like this, if you see, inventory is something which I can feel and touch. Tangible is something which I can feel and touch. Intangible, something I cannot feel and touch. That is the question. So inventory has to be removed here anyhow. Are you able to get this? So understanding words and doing research becomes very important. I hope it is clear till here. Understood? Now when I make notes, how do I do it? Okay, so your notes should not be too bulky. So one way of making notes is making 10 to 15 points on each line mentioned in the main syllabus. So the main syllabus is there. Okay, so one line in the main syllabus, I have 10 points. Mobilization of resources, 10 points. Growth and development, 10 points. Scope and significance of food processing, 10 points. Land reforms, positives, negatives, measures, 10 points, like that. Okay, so that is one way of making notes. That is with respect to the lines in the syllabus. That means your notes should be crisp so that you can revise 10 times before going to the exam. Your notes will not make 1000 page notes. Why 1000 page notes? Already a lot of notes available in the market. So why do you want to make another 500,000 page notes when all the material is available? You have institute materials, you have toppers notes, then your notes, what is the purpose then? Is this clear? Okay, second thing is you need to maintain a separate fact sheet. Important data which I will write in mains will be in one place, so that the data you will keep on checking again and again, so that things will become more easy for you. Is that okay? This is what I mentioned, topics in the main syllabus. Value addition is like icing on the cake. At the end, how do I get that half extra mark for each question in comparison to the competitor? This comes after all my preparation is over. That is when you think about value addition. So value addition is how do I add value? Maybe you will do it by drawing some graphs, some flow charts, writing schemes. That is what it is. And everything is prepared beforehand. You will not be experimenting in the exam. Everything is prepared. Agriculture based questions, bar chart, Okay, so growth-based questions, line diagrams, everything is prepared beforehand. You're not going to prepare things in the exam. You're not going to innovate. Exam is not about innovation. This exam is all about replication. 8.5 minutes, you have to write one answer. It can't be the best answer in the world. It has to be a relatively better answer than others. Got the point right? So for that, practice is important. Practice in terms of charts. Practice in terms of schemes, data, side headings. This is what it is. I hope it is clear. So to understand how to present, etc., topper sheets are very helpful. So the whole logic is very simple. Understand keywords, focus on syllabus and previous year papers, crisp notes and flowcharts, separate data sheet should be prepared, focus on adding value, that also has to be prepared beforehand, then repeat the same system again and again. This is what you will be doing. Repeat and repeat. No adding new textbooks, no adding new materials. You will fix the material beforehand. That means you do all your research before picking up 1 or 2 books. Once you have picked up the book, you will not change it. You keep revising the same book again and again. Okay, so you have to focus on how do I make my answers better? How do I get good score in prelims? How do I practice more questions? That should be a target. Not how do I add one more textbook? Ramesh Singh is over, one more textbook, this, that. No, not like that. So I think it is clear. So this is a better approach which will save your time. Without understanding words, if you jump into syllabus and jump into this, understanding the economics topics, what will happen is you will not be able to connect the links. There is always connection between different chapters. Suppose fiscal policy is there, it is connected. Fiscal policy, whatever you read is connected to inflation. Monetary policy is also connected to inflation. It is also connected to growth. Now I don't know what is growth, what is GDP, what is money supply, and you get into discussion. You can't read any topic in isolation. And that is the reason basic understanding of words is very important. Clear? So for mains, basically, your notes should be handy, as I told you. That handy can be based on, it can be a flow chart, it can be diagrams. So the whole chapter can be in one page, so that you, in the form of flow charts, so that you can revise it again and again. So these are all memory techniques. So everybody talks about hard work only. Okay, so hard work is okay. We'll work hard, but this is more important. Got the point, right? Hard work, we'll work very hard and we'll climb mountains and all that. That will not work actually. You need to be intelligently seeing what is asked, how are things asked, who are getting marks, and have a very clear approach. Then things will be more easy and simple. Topper sheets you can download. When you write answers, take inputs from topper sheets. And topper sheets are for, what is the main purpose of topper sheet? It will give you like, toppers have become toppers because there is something in them. So you're trying to find out what is that something. But you will not compare with topper and say, I am useless. Your approach should not be like, topper, you are from heaven, I am from hell. Okay, so I will never come to heaven. Not like that. Got the point right here? The logic is very simple. Topper, you are topper, I'll also prepare, I'll also come. So topper would have written his answer in his 6th attempt. You would have written your answer for the first time in your life. You have not written anything except chatting. And the first time in your life you have written something. And now you start comparing and you say, oh, you are good, I am bad. And from there everything stops. So the whole objective of checking topper sheet is, how did they draw the flow chart? How did they write the data point? How are they pulling points and side headings? So meticulously you will observe topper sheets and learn from the topper sheets. Is this clear? So this will definitely add a lot of value. Suppose you don't believe that you are capable, then you can't fight the war. Simple logic. No, somebody is saying, no, you have accepted defeat before fighting. Then there's no point in fighting only. Simple logic. So therefore, there's a lot of scope to learn, and you will use topper sheets and also understand how they are writing, etc. Work on your writing skill. There are people who have written in point format and cleared the exam. There are people who have written in small paragraph and cleared the exams. There are people who write a lot of spelling mistakes and still cleared the exam. There are people who are exceptional English and still failed in exam. So there is nothing like a defined way exactly. So everybody is, after clearing, they'll say, yes, this is my way. But in fact, there is nothing like a unique way. So from all this, you will create your own way. Your own strategy will come out. Because based on your aptitude, based on your logic, things come out. For somebody to grasp a particular book, he will take, let's say, 5 readings. Somebody will grasp it in maybe 3 readings. So each person is different. Somebody is very good in objective type. Somebody is good in writing skill. Got the point, right? So each person is different. No? So that is the reason, once you have a standard pattern, you will evolve your own strategy. But the objective is very clear. This is how it is. Is this clear? Understood? So I know you're sitting since. I know. That's the reason. Any doubts? Everything is clear? Very good. Thank you.